Well, I gotta say flip.
And we are live.
Hey everybody, it's
Nice.
Ray from the. Are we live?
Yep,
Alive?
we
Alive?
are.
Alive? Okay, it's Ray from the Horror Syndicate, and this is Discourse. This is a conversation about horror movies, and tonight we're going to discuss our 20 favorite Stephen King adaptations. And doesn't necessarily mean they're all horror either. So brace yourself for you non-horror fans. And if you don't like it, okay. So tonight, my internet connection is unstable, so that should be fun. Tonight we have Keith
Hello.
with us. We have Seth,
Hello.
kind of rocking a Winchester look a little bit, looks like today. And then we've got the Overlook Hotel himself, Nathan Thomas Milner. Of course, Jared should be here at some point. He's got a hair appointment right now. He's got to get that dude looking good. So yeah, so we talked Pet Cemetery the other night, and I guess it kind of inspired a conversation about our top, started out as top 10 and then went to top 20 Stephen King adaptations. And before we get to that conversation, apparently Nev Campbell's in talks to be in Scream 5. Quick thoughts, guys. What do you think? Who wants to see Scream 5? Nate, you go first. Huh?
I can go see it. I'd go see it. I liked part 4 myself. I thought it was arguably the best since the original. At the same time, I don't know. Like, it's one of those things where, like, it wouldn't feel like Scream without Nev to me. But at the same time, it's the Die Hard thing of how can the same shit happen to the same chick 6 times or 5 times or 4 times?
Right.
Like how many Ghostface fucking copycats can there be? I mean, I would be down if they go with the Stu coming back. I think that would be really cool. I'd love to see Matthew Lillard as Stu Macher come back.
I would as well.
And I would hope that at least Kevin Williamson. I haven't studied or looked up anything, but is Kevin involved?
I don't know. I haven't seen anything about. The only thing I've seen is directors, which is supposed to be the people who did Ready or Not.
No, that's
Yeah.
good news. I'll go with that.
I guess he is involved. I just read an article before I jumped on here. I actually shared it on my Facebook if you want to read it, but
I
I
ignore
guess
you
he's
as much as I
involved
can.
right now as an executive producer, maybe. Who knows, like
Okay.
if it's just going to be, name only, or if he's going to be more hands-on. I don't know yet, but
Yeah. I wonder if Nev's is in talks. I just don't know. It's one of those things where I wonder if she would have reservations because it's not Wes, like that loyalty to Wes Craven.
That was
when
in
you
her.
do 4 movies with the same director, that's a very unique thing.
She was in an article earlier
What was it?
about that. She said she wasn't gonna. She was hesitant about doing it because Wes is gone, and the director said that like they are big Wes fans and they aren't going to like shit on what he's done or what he would have done. Like they're trying to be as
Well,
close
yeah, that's
to
the
him
thing
as
to
possible.
say.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing. You don't know what you can take from the article. Is it just money or is that actually how it is and they're just saying it to make fans feel better, etc. But
I mean, I'm sure they're fans. I mean,
Yeah.
who not many people aren't in the horror genre.
Yeah.
Fans of Wes Craven.
the article I found just a little while ago, it was a little bit more detailed with her interview, and I guess they wrote her a letter, and just really explaining how much Wes Craven inspired them and how they really want to honor him, and that kind of got her to be a little more open to it. I'll try to share the link to that in the Horror Syndicate comments here.
That'd be great. Yeah, I agree with it. It's not Scream. I watched the first season of the MTV series, which I'm not gonna lie, I liked it because it was very different and very similar at the same time. But if they did redo Scream without Nev, the only way I'd like to see it happen is a copycat somewhere else in the world. Virginia wants Nev to die. And Sydney, I guess. I'm hoping Sydney, not Nev Campbell herself. That's awful.
She's a very nice woman, yeah.
Yeah. And I don't want her to die. I like her. But yeah, I like the Scream series through and through. Even the third one, I was stoked when that came out. And I think next Tuesday, how about we do a Scream episode? Let's talk some Scream next week. What do you guys think? You down?
Yeah, that
Gives me a chance to watch all 4 of them again. I love the Scream movies. I don't love that it's number 3 on our top 100, but that's another story. So anyway, if you're with us tonight, we're going to be talking about Stephen King. Seth is going to try to share the article he saw with the interview with Nev Campbell. I love her. I'd love to see her more, but I'm glad that she's not oversaturated like some other actresses. And he just shared it. So anyway, thanks for being with us. Jared's back, looking good as ever. That salon appointment sure helped, buddy.
It did.
Anyway,
Spa day.
we're gonna spa day. What's up? So Nate's got the master lists. I'm not gonna write it down this time. But Stephen King movies. Who doesn't like a good Stephen King movie? I mean, they all seem to have a similar feel. They almost feel like they could all connect in a way in the same universe, even though the films themselves generally don't. I don't know. I'm a big fan. I think when Nate says, "Oh, let's do 20," pick 20 movies, I'm like, "Fuck, that's gonna be difficult." It wasn't. It wasn't at all. It was a lot easier than I thought.
Yeah.
It's as soon as I put pen to paper, I'm like, "Oh my god!" They just started flowing. I'm like, "Okay, here's the list." I just had to place them in order. So let's do it. Let's get into it. What's number 20? Let's start with number 20.
All right, number 20 is Dreamcatcher.
No, let's start with number 18.
Okay, number 18 is
I'm not
Dreamcatcher.
joking. Go with number 20.
All Dreamcatcher.
It's all Dreamcatcher, number 20.
No, Dreamcatcher. I didn't vote for Dreamcatcher, so you guys talk.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
But why? Why didn't you vote for Dreamcatcher?
I haven't
I
seen
don't
that
think
movie since it
Dreamcatcher wasn't
came out,
mine either.
so I don't really remember anything about it.
I told you guys the story about how I saw Dreamcatcher, and I got no reaction, so I'm not gonna.
I
bore
said
the
a
audience.
laugh react.
Oh, a laugh react? That's all I get? Anyway, her name was Jenny Horror, okay? That was her real name. Anyway, that was my date for the evening. I like Dreamcatcher a lot. I think it gives a lot of the same vibes as it does. With
Oh,
Yeah,
I
great
did,
cast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
great
just talking to
cast.
guys. It's like a amalgamation of a lot of Stephen King stuff. There's
Yeah.
It in there.
Mhm.
There's
See if I can
Oh,
look
shit.
at this real quick.
just a lot of. I started noticing little things. Stand By Me. They're looking for a missing girl or dead girl kind of thing. So yeah, there's a. I liked. I mean, I looked at the. I saw it when it came out. I remember digging it, but not just being over the moon about it. And then when I went to revisit it today, I was like, shit, I forgot all these celebrities who are in it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Great
fucking
cast.
Morgan Freeman's in this thing. And,
Mhm.
and then I
And
looked
he's a
at the
dick.
filmmakers. Yeah, he's a dick. You don't see Morgan Freeman playing a
Exactly.
bad guy. When he's
Not
like to
since,
shoot that guy, you're like,
Not
what?
since Outbreak. Not since Outbreak has he been
Not
such a
since
dick.
maybe Lean on Me. Like, that's my introduction to it, really.
He was trying to
But-
motivate them kids. Come on.
Yeah, he's trying with a ball bat. But when I looked at who made it, Lawrence Kasdan, who wrote
Mhm.
Empire Strikes Back and all that, and then William Goldman, who's like a god among screenwriters. I mean, he wrote so many amazing movies, of course, Princess Bride, and he just sadly passed away like last year. But I had a hard time getting into it, and I just chalk it up to I'm not a big alien sci-fi fan in general. Sometimes, like,
How dare you, sir?
I love the opening. I like the character. I love the scene with Tim and the Elephant where he's finding the girl's car keys. I thought that was a really fun scene. But I feel like, I don't know. Once it got halfway through it, I started losing interest.
Yeah, I think that is one of the issues. I want to spend more time with the gang, the group,
Mhm.
and seeing the flashback scenes with them, finding Duddits and all that stuff. There's a lot of good stuff there, but when they start focusing more on the military and the aliens, it does fall a little flat. But the first act is wonderful, and getting to know everybody. There's decent character development, which we all know is a pet peeve of mine. And let me tell you something. I watched Commando the other day. They did all the character development in the credits. Wonderful. We got to know that he loved his daughter, and they were like inseparable, and that was all within like a 3-minute
Carry
span.
trees on his arm.
Exactly. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Really
Anyway,
strong. He can smell you downwind.
hell yeah.
And
Yes, you can.
you can smell him?
I did.
I did.
But, I don't know. I like Dreamcatcher. I still like it. And the first act really makes a lot of the movie. I think the very end of the movie is very good too. Am I the only one that put that on the list?
I
No.
did. I had it at
Okay.
number 19 on my list.
19. Okay.
I got it number 20 on mine.
So 3 are to blame.
So watching it again, Nate, would you maybe put it on your list now or no?
No, there's still more others that aren't on the list that that I had to leave off.
We're done here.
So okay, I quit.
No.
You are dead to me.
I'm gonna go catch some dreams.
All right. So Seth, Jared, anything you got to say about Dreamcatcher? We're ready to move on to 19.
Just a great cast movie, like you guys were saying. Like, it's just surprising.
I can't argue that the cast isn't amazing.
It needs
it's-
it needs a new Blu-ray release, in my opinion, also. But I still have the old Warner Brothers snap. I hate those.
The
with a passion.
cardboards.
Yeah, they don't fit correctly, and then you try to shove them in. There's one next to it, and they get caught on the lip of the other. It's like, fuck you, cases.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love the movie, and I agree. Though the second half's weaker. Although the scene where Jason Lee is dealing with the alien or whatever it is, the little slug, or what did Chris call him? Chris Hall called him some kind of
Ass
weasel.
goblin.
Yeah.
Ass weasel.
ass weasel, yeah. But like that whole scene was pretty great, and the guy with part. I love the movie. I'd like to watch it again.
It's not
If
a
I
bad
wasn't so-
movie. I think
yeah.
mine is it's more
Not
of
a
a
top 20, though.
personal. It feels like a half-assed thing. Thing.
Maybe it's
or
one that
something.
deserves a reimagining. I don't know.
I mean, you already had it adapted by two legends, so I don't know.
Yeah.
And
Well,
a hell of
they're
a
making
cast.
everything these days. I think the limit is 2 years, so then you can remake something. So they could have remade in 2005. So
Right?
anyway, let's go ahead and move on, unless Seth's got anything to say, or
Oh,
Seth Winchester over here.
Like you guys say, the first half, I really love the first half. I love getting to know the characters, and then they started dying pretty soon, and
Yeah.
it just kind of it felt like the movie was like two different movies.
Yes, that's a good point.
Yeah, that
But
is.
I just showed that movie to my kids, and now my youngest daughter is running around all the time saying "I did it" all the time.
So they liked it then.
Yeah.
Yeah. One last thing I got to say is I like whenever the helicopters are coming in to like try to wipe them out and bomb all the aliens, and they're trying to send off a friendly frequency, even though those things are hellish ass weasels, as Chris said. Chris Hall, thank you for that. Ass weasel is now
Like
in there.
murder
so there's a lot
hornets.
more. So let's go to 19, Nate. What we got?
All right, number 19 is The Dead Zone. That was on my list.
That wasn't even on my list. For some reason I spaced on that one. Not a bad movie.
I like it.
Not bad. Jared?
That's all.
Anybody else? You want to
no,
got anything to say?
no,
Okay,
I
then
gotta
that
say,
should be
no,
the
no,
point.
I do. I love that. I think I'm not a big body horror fan, so that's like one of my favorite Cronenberg movies, if not like maybe only second to History of Violence, or even more so. I don't know. I think it's a really well made film. Of course, it's coming from one of the best filmmakers of his generation. Christopher Walken, I'd watch that dude do anything. And this is like one of his iconic things. I mean, like people think about this film when they think of Christopher Walken, and I even like the Saturday Night Live sketch where he would he'd grab somebody and freak out. He'd like know insignificant things, like you're gonna walk to the parking lot. There's gonna be ice. You're gonna slip. It's gonna hurt bad. Are you gonna get an ice cream headache? It's gonna hurt real bad, and stuff like that.
Anytime I read the book or watch or listen to the audio book, I can't picture Christopher Walken as Johnny Smith. Just weird cast.
Did you read who King wanted? He wanted Bill Murray to play him.
Yeah, I remember reading that. That's weird.
Yeah.
That's weirder.
I know. I'd watch it, but yeah, it would have been interesting. I don't know. I really like. I mean, the scene with the guy that kills himself, just the way he does it with the scissors, just to open his mouth. I mean, it's weird, but it's so fucking creepy. Like, it's a scary moment. That's the scariest suicide moment I think I've ever seen in a movie. Maybe other than the Halloween 3 android burning himself. I don't think a lot of people have anything to say, so let's move on.
Yeah, go ahead. Number 18.
Number 18 is
I haven't seen it in a
Gerald.
long ass time, so that's
I haven't seen it in a long time either.
yeah.
Yeah. Number 18, I'm happy to see it's a very new one. Gerald's Game.
Man, that's on my list for sure.
It's on mine.
I waited a while to see that, and I really first of all, another movie with small cast but a great cast.
Yeah.
Carla
Gugino.
Gino.
Gugino.
What she was at Whorehound, and I think I nearly fainted like 4 or 5 times. I really wanted to go see her and say hi, but fuck, man, I couldn't.
She walked by us twice when we were
Yeah, she
having
did.
lunch.
My eyes were glued on her because she is
Oh
gorgeous.
man.
Yeah,
I had to go meet her. I gave her like a.
I should have. I regret it now because she's everything I've ever seen her in, including Son-in-Law. She's really good, and she carried this movie. I mean, there's some great scenes with her and the husband whose name is escaping me, the president from National Treasure. But like she was fantastic in this movie. It's creepy, and sometimes you couldn't tell what was going, if it was real or a dream or what. It's a great movie, man. It's available on Netflix.
Just terrifying ordeal, real life situation where, I mean, like, to be stuck in that situation, like, oh fuck, how's she gonna get out of this? I mean, right from the top of the movie, and then it was one of the only movies. I don't turn my head very often, but Robert Kurtzman's like the handcuff and the hand scene, where she has to basically de-sleeve herself.
De-glove, yeah.
I was like,
That's so gross.
De-glove herself. Oh God, Robert Kurtzman.
I read that.
That's not even the cringiest part of the movie. That part with her dad and the son's that. Oh.
I read that. I read Gerald's Game.
I think there's also no score in that movie.
Yeah, it is a very quiet.
Would you say,
What's going on?
I said I read Jared's Game in high school, and that was one I always wanted an adaptation of, and never really understood why there wasn't an adaptation of it.
They were waiting for Mike Flanagan to do it.
Yeah, I was just saying, it just seems like such a simple movie to make. Like, it doesn't really have that many
Why don't you make it
locations
then?
or characters. I'm sorry.
I think one thing I read when I was doing research on Pet Sematary is that Pet Sematary was really hard to make because apparently the industry thought that Stephen King was done. Like his like film adaptations of Stephen King movies were dead, and there was an over thing. And I think maybe there just wasn't a lot of faith in him. I mean, even though right after that you had Misery and a few Shawshank, a few big titles, I think the horror Stephen King adaptation stuff, I think they just didn't have any faith in it in Hollywood. They thought he'd run dry, or his appeal.
It ran its
course. And it does feel like when Gerald's Game, that was one of the first novels that came out, because that came out early 90s, mid 90s.
Mid 90s, yeah.
It's kind of in that part where he was kind of, it wasn't as popular as he had been. I mean, at one point he was like just the king of the world. Like he was the biggest selling writer.
Mm-hmm.
He probably has always been big seller, but he was like literally, I think, if I remember right, he sold like only Mickey Spillane was the other big writer who sold as many books as he had back in the his time in the 50s and 60s or 40s. But I do remember like Stephen King did become kind of he didn't have the power that he had at one point in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s.
And they should have waited to think Stephen King's movies were dead after Graveyard Shift. Anyway.
There was a lot of, I mean, if you look at the 80s Stephen King, a lot of those movies were flops and critical failures. And
that one didn't land.
Man.
Landed like the deuce in my toilet. Graveyard Shift's on our list, though, isn't it?
It was, but it got knocked off after Jared voted, so it's his fault.
Okay, good. I mean, it's not terrible. I just don't know. I don't know. There's parts of it I like, and there's parts I really just like. Why do they make this?
That's one of those I haven't seen since I was growing up, and I keep debating if I want to get the Scream Factory release or not.
Save your money. What's the next one?
The next one is Children of the Corn.
What the hell is that?
Is that a chair moving or somebody blowing their nose?
Nose blue.
So I always credit A Nightmare on Elm Street 2 as the first horror movie I've ever seen, but apparently I remember my mom telling me I used to watch Children of the Corn all the time when I was little, and that predates Nightmare 2, so I don't know. I don't remember. But I like Children of the Corn. That was one of the first VHSs I ever bought when I first got my VCR. And for those Keith, you do know what a VCR is, right?
Oh my God.
I'm joking.
I know.
Anyway, that was with that and the Nightmare on Elm Street 2 actually were the first two VHSs I got. And I remember watching it and not realizing that it was Linda Hamilton in that movie and the goofy song she sings at the beginning. It doesn't hold up. That movie does not hold up, but I still have a lot of love for it.
Yeah, it's
That's
not
my
a
opinion.
great film, but it's on my list, and I've always loved it.
Sorry.
Playback.
Yeah.
I love the story. I think it's a creepy story, and I love why did these children murdered all the adults, and um, Courtney Gaines and John Franklin are terrifying in it. Yeah, of course, and Linda Hamilton and Robbie Kiger I thought was really good. I liked him in this and Monster Squad. Really odd character. I got to meet him at Horror Hound. He was a really odd but fun guy. Um, but Children Corn is just one of those great nostalgic ones. Like I just really like that movie. I know it's one of those obviously bad movies, but one I love and don't care about if it's bad. Um, well,
It's being remade as we speak. So
is it again?
yeah.
Didn't they remake it already?
Yeah,
Yeah.
09 or something like that.
9.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a movie that could be very improved upon. I think a remake is warranted for that movie. And I think we could get a better movie out of it because it is a great. I think it's a great story. I think this is really creepy. But at the same time, I think part of the creepiness was how back, like almost like Amish the people were. Like they were just like, I mean, I guess if it's an Amish community, they could do it. But like the fact that they almost like come from another time, the whole town. Like when they go in the beginning, it looks like it's the 1960s or early 60s or something. When they're getting milkshake at the diner, and I mean, it just doesn't look like 1984.
No.
I feel like someone tried to do a small town, not knowing what a small town is.
You mean like Ozark? That damn show?
God damn it! That's
I think you're right on that. And maybe it's one of those movies that they should make it more of a period piece anyway, more of a 1970s or 60s type movie if they remake it, or
that'd be great.
Remaking it.
If it could be set when Stephen King wrote it.
Yeah, because I think that's something that I keep thinking about. Like some of these movies, the modern stuff takes away. Like if you make a movie like Children of the Corn now, I mean, the cell phones are gonna, cell phones are a big problem when it comes to horror movies, in my opinion. Especially movies when people get stranded or out in the middle of nowhere or whatever it is. Cell phones are a big problem.
I believe Stephen King has a movie for that problem. It's called Cell.
I watched every single Children of the Corn movie last year for my 500. Let me tell you something.
How did that hurt?
Fucking task. Very much.
I don't think I ever watched past the second one. I don't know.
The third one's not bad. The third and the fourth one are probably the best. The rest are awful. The rest are so bad and so forgettable. Isaac's Return was the sixth one, and I was looking forward to that because they got the same actor, but it was bad. And then they made one that had nothing to do with the series or the mythology. And, there's one with Alexis Arquette. That was the fifth one. I think.
It's a little series where you go, they made how many?
Yeah.
I'm a horror fan. I didn't know that there were 20 of them.
It was fun in the 90s when you're pooping them out straight to VHS, straight to video, and me and my brother would be like, go to the video store. Oh, there's a new Children of the Corn. Let's watch it. And we always knew they were bad, and I just didn't realize there's like 9 or 10 of them now. So I even watched the remake. I gotta lie, I didn't care. I did not hate the remake. So
I did. I couldn't even finish it.
Yeah,
it was a TV movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was on Sci-Fi.
I don't even remember if I watched it.
Yeah, it's not great.
It
didn't bother me. I'll tell you why it didn't bother me, because I was in the middle of the 7th and 8th movie because I watched them in chronological order. So I watched a lot of garbage, and I got to see that, and I was like, this is kind of refreshing. And I went right back to the rest of the garbage.
This is as bad as the worst they offered.
I don't know. Yeah, the main chick in that, she just really fucking annoyed me.
Yeah.
Like the way she was always ragging on the guy about being a soldier. And
he wasn't great either. So I think the casting was a big problem in that movie. I did make a ranking of the Children of the Corn movies after that. It's on the horrorsyndicate.com if you want to look at that, but I know you don't want to because who cares?
Hurry up, go to it.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for that list.
It's not a good one. Anyway, Also, one point to note: when I was a
Respect to
kid,
everybody
I always
that
thought
worked
was
on it
he who
and
walks-
sweat it.
Oh yeah, no, I don't. I don't respect those people.
No.
I used to think they were talking about he who walks behind the rose, like the rose, the flower. Just throw that
The
out there. I didn't
rose.
realize they were talking about the rows of corn.
What's the
So, all
secret of
right, let's
them
move
in
on to
there?
the next one. Get out of this before I keep rambling about Children of the Corn.
Number 16 is Secret Window.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've not seen that.
Really?
Yeah, we bought back in the early days of DVD, we bought new movies every Tuesday, and we never opened that, and it became like a long running joke with me and Elizabeth, and we never opened it, and I will never open it. So because of the the joke with my wife, and yeah, every time I see it, I get a little sad because I can't joke with her about that anymore. Well, sounds
Holy
like a good
shit.
movie though.
It escaped my top 20 list.
I will
but-
never open that. I'll get another copy before I open that.
No, yeah, get another copy. It's worth watching.
It's a fun movie.
For some reason, it
Ah.
escaped my top 20 list because I added a couple towards my back end, and unless it just kind of totally.
You really like adding towards that back end, don't you, bro?
I do. You never
I'm
know
glad
what's
it
going to pop up.
Oh.
I'm glad it made the list because I hadn't seen it since it came out, so I got to revisit it and really enjoyed it. I think at the time it didn't stay with me because, like, oh great, Stephen King wrote another movie about a writer who's crazy and probably is a killer himself. Or I think it's like this. I was joking last night. I drew to the group. I drew like a clock or a spinner with a pie chart. It had a little wedge and it said other, and everything else was writer, and it said what Stephen King uses to determine what the occupation of the lead is in his books. It's always
Lamp
writer.
maker.
And they're like, does he ever sit there and time and go, so he was writing, should I make this guy a writer? I feel like I've done this a lot. Oh, fuck it. He's a writer. Oh, he teaches writing this time. He's a teacher. He wants to be a writer.
Takes a bump of coke. Fuck it.
How many times have we done that one? But I think that's what it was. But it is, it's a little predictable. But I like, Johnny Depp and
Johnny
John
Depp was
Turturro.
great in it. Yeah.
Maria Bello is one of the sexiest women alive, and I enjoyed it. It's a fun. I would put it up there in my top 10 ever, but I'm glad it's on the list. I'm glad I got to watch it again.
Yeah, that was one of those movies I didn't see it when it came out. I think I randomly got it at like a Big Lots or something, like in a bargain bin. I was like, Johnny Depp, Stephen King, I'm buying it. And then like I used to watch it all the time. I really enjoy that movie.
You guys ever read the short story at all?
What was it in? Was it in Dreams? What book was
What the hell was it? Different season? No.
I don't remember the
that? Was
collection.
it in Nightmares and Dreamscapes?
Yeah, I don't think it was in different seasons.
No, different seasons only had
You
like
can go
cat
find
people,
out.
the body.
And
I've never read it. I wouldn't mind reading it though.
I remember looking it up when it first came out. 'Cause I was
Everything's
trying to figure
eventual,
out-
maybe.
I'm looking.
I'm okay with
Actually,
the
it seems
movie
like-
because I've got hair like Mort Rainey
Four
for
past
days.
midnight.
Yeah, 4 past midnight.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there you go. There you go. But yes,
Oh,
I've got
it-
hair like Mort Rainey for days.
I would definitely recommend checking out that short story because the ending is a little bit more. It's a little bit of a mystery whether or not it was actually him going crazy or if there really was a John Shooter.
Okay, it's more open-ended.
More ambiguous.
Check it out. Yeah.
It's a great
Yeah, more
reveal, but I'm like,
ambiguous.
where's his gun? Why is he trying to stab her? Why is he trying to shoot her?
I have no idea.
But yeah, it was.
Welcome
Sorry.
to my seat, Ray.
Sorry, Ray.
What happened to,
That
what
down
happened
by
to the
Ray.
baby?
The movies Ray hasn't
What happened to
seen.
the baby? There was a hitchhiker.
Put
Yeah.
put
Oh,
by
that's-
that one.
Yeah, check mark by Ray.
That might be the only one I haven't seen. But it's funny, I own it and I haven't seen it yet, and I've owned it for the better part of 2 decades. So
Oh,
all right,
who to the
let's
next
move
one?
on.
Yep.
Okay, so next 15 is
I always felt like it was
Films Lot.
like a companion piece. What? Am I glitching?
What's
Yeah,
what's going on?
everybody's
We're all
glitching.
screwed up tonight.
I don't know if
I
it's
love
Zoom or.
yeah. All right. Number
Okay.
15 is
What was the
Salem's
next
Lot.
one again?
Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot. Everyone.
This is one
Sorry if you're
I
watching and we're glitching.
yeah, I think it's Zoom. They can't handle the coronavirus meetings.
It might be everybody's using Zoom these days.
Yeah.
It
Salem's
is,
Lot
yeah.
is one
I'm watching our live feed now to see if
how jacked up it is. Yeah, Salem's Lot is one that I have not seen. I own it, and I remember trying to watch it when I bought it, and like I started watching it, and like it was really boring to me, and then I realized how freaking long it was, and realized it was a miniseries. So I haven't truly sat down to continue watching it yet. But I know it's also getting remade.
I'll
my
second
God.
it. It's not one of my favorite. It bores me.
it's probably too long.
One really creepy. That scene with the boy in the window is still one of the most terrifying moments in horror film. But
Well, the scenes with Mr. Barlow in the
Yeah.
house are pretty good too.
Now I will say I have seen
I
the
like it
remake
quite a bit.
with-
I think it deserves a theatrical movie, and it probably.
Yeah, I know James Wan's doing
You
something
saw
with it
the remake?
theatrically. Yeah,
We're
I've
having
seen
all
the
kinds of trouble, aren't we?
Yeah.
You-
Yeah, I was gonna say I have
Seen
seen
Thomas Howell one?
I've seen the remake with Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe one?
Yeah.
That's it. Oh my lord.
you gotta
It's
have
not as
Starsky
good.
and Hutch movie.
Salem's Lot, like I saw the original movie after I read the book, and it was the first Stephen King book I've ever read. I read that when I was in high school, so I actually like the old movie. It doesn't really bore me. I know it's a little bit of a slow pace, but I also do love the Rob Lowe movie too. I know it gets shit on a little bit, but
It was fun, but I'm also a Rob Lowe person.
I really enjoyed it. I got no complaints about that remake.
I haven't seen it. I need to watch that then.
No.
What's his name?
Just okay.
The guy from Babe and L.A. Confidential. What's that guy's name? Cromwell. He plays
James,
Father Callahan.
James Cromwell.
Yeah, and that character appears in one of the Dark Tower books, in the fifth Dark Tower book. And like when I read that Dark Tower book, I just imagined him as Father Callahan.
Not James Mason. Okay, let's get to a fun one. Number 14.
Figure out what's going on with this damn internet.
It's irritating.
We're all Sasquatch.
I think this next movie is a problem. It's just technology. It's fucking Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Machines are fucking with it.
As long as I don't get shot in the nuts with a soda can, I'll be fine.
This machine called me an asshole.
God, it's like
that was one of the coolest scenes in that movie.
It's the
because
beginning of the
I was a
movie, and it's
big
so great.
baseball player at the end.
I love Maximum Overdrive.
Oh yeah.
It's okay. I don't
I
know.
love this movie.
I think it gets a little boring.
It's
Uh-oh.
boring. It's like Night of the Living
Yeah.
Dead with trucks. I love that one.
Yeah,
It's a
good.
guilty pleasure movie.
Yeah, that was when I watched when I was a
We
kid,
are
and I wore
screwed
the.
up right now.
Yeah, we are. That was when I watched when I was a kid, and I wore the hell out of the tape we had for Maximum Overdrive. Fucking love that movie.
I'm hearing you guys okay.
I want a remake.
It's
The
a
screen
it's a
looks
fun
okay.
movie, like I said before. Before we started the show, I mentioned Keith and Nate. Oh,
Go, Seth, go.
I hear you.
everything's
This
all
is
messed up. I
amazing.
don't know what you're gonna say.
This is
What's
ridiculous.
going on with this? Is it the,
I
is
think
it the
it's
screen?
Zoom.
What is it?
I think it's Zoom. I'm gonna make sure.
We
my
should just
internet-
like. I think
It's
we
just
should
saying
type out.
everybody has low bandwidth.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure my internet's good, but I think it's Zoom.
Yeah, it said
It's
that.
saying my connection is unstable.
Yeah, if everybody's doing that,
Unstable.
it's Zoom.
How are we looking, everybody up there? Can everybody tell us if it's coming through okay for you or not? Because we're getting frustrated because we want to get to number 14. Maximum Overdrive is not that great. Just saying.
Hey now.
It
I
is now.
agree. Like, I don't think it should be on the top 20 list. It's a fun movie. But
Hey
it's,
now.
it's
Bullshit.
Hey now.
But Emilio is in it.
Emilio's
Hey now.
awesome.
I'm with Jared.
Pat
Hey now.
Hingle. Hey, Bubba.
You know, I just started watching Mission Impossible, the first one last night, and Emilio's in it. And he died like within 10 minutes. It was really upsetting.
Oh, he was in the
not even
elevator
credited
shaft.
in
That's
that
right.
movie either.
Yep.
I
little
read.
glitchy.
The
But
character
not
I read
that
last
the
night
lady that
that,
plays Lisa Simpson is the bride.
That was
Yeah,
so
like,
much talking
yeah,
at
You
yeah,
guys
once.
didn't know that.
This is a
Weirdly.
mess.
Yeah.
I know. The girl
It is
that
a
played
mess.
the bride in Maximum Overdrive was the lady that played Lisa Simpson. That's all I have to say.
I read that Romero.
Okay.
There's a lot of people who believe George. What the fuck? I quit.
Yeah, it's definitely Zoom, I think.
You
I
think?
think we should.
Yeah, if
End it
everybody's
and
getting
start over.
if everybody's getting the low bandwidth thing, then it's Zoom having problems connecting us.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody in the world, get off Zoom, please.
Yeah,
We're trying to talk about stuff that's not important.
you don't
We're
need to
doing
have
stuff.
you don't need to have your school
Hey.
meetings.
You can stay
No,
in the
it's-
red for a while while we do this.
It's too late for school meetings right now. Come on, guys. It says I don't
I'm
know what to
hearing
do.
you guys okay. I don't know what's going on.
Are you? You're hearing us okay?
I
Yeah,
can hear
nobody's
you
really cutting
all.
out.
It's just everybody keeps talking over each other because I think
Yeah,
it's
like I'll
delayed to
be-
your headphones.
Yeah, I'll be mid sentence and all of a sudden Ray starts talking. I was like,
I'm
what?
doing it on purpose. No.
Yeah,
Maybe
literally.
Chris also
there's like a
says we should
delay.
get out and reconnect. I don't know if that's gonna fix it.
Yeah, literally 5 minutes ago there was like 800 people reporting outages on Zoom.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, it seems like it's flowing a little bit better now.
Yeah, it
Yeah, I'm
does.
not getting the low bandwidth at all now.
All right, let's go.
Yeah,
Hurry.
but- okay.
Come on, what's number 13? Let's go. Hurry.
I heard that George Romero possibly directed Maximum Overdrive because Stephen King was so coked out of his head.
That was a good rumor.
Yeah, but apparently he was on the set a lot, giving Stephen a lot of advice. Also, he got sued pretty badly. Stephen did because the DP lost his right eye because of the lawnmower. The lawnmower.
What?
Shit.
The lawnmower that was remote control got haywire and
Oh my
hit
God.
something and wood flew everywhere and it hit the DP in his eye and he lost
Oh
Jesus.
shit.
That dude, wear goggles on set.
it.
You're working with a robotic lawnmower. You should be wearing safety equipment.
Okay, we'll move on to next. One of my favorites should be higher, Cujo.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Partially my fault, probably.
It's not on my list
We
either.
we have talked about Cujo. Should we talk about it again?
You can touch
No,
on
we
it.
can jump on. The only thing I read new that was that they originally sought John Carpenter to direct it, and he turned it down.
Oh,
That would have
I
been
like-
interesting.
I like that he did Christine. Cujo's not bad. I think it's placed pretty well.
But we'll skip because we did touch
Let's
on it
keep
on our
moving.
top 100. There's probably a few on here we've already did on the top 100 because that's another reason why we did this. All right, number 12 is The Green Mile.
Yeah.
It's a favorite of my wife's. It's a very touching movie, very good movie. Not a horror movie at all. So is this the first one that's not horror related?
Yes.
Yeah.
Name's
Good
Carl.
cast.
Spelled.
Good
I
story.
remember. I mean, was anybody? I mean, I remember buying those when they were serialized when they came out. I mean, it was really cool, really exciting. Did y'all buy them when they were coming out?
You're talking about the
Serial
books?
form? Yeah.
I know what you're talking about, like the
I know
little,
you were
the
probably
little,
born then.
the little tiny. You're talking about the little tiny ones.
The little bitty.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was serializing them, and he did
Yeah.
that. He said because he was tired, people like skipping to the end of his books to find out what happened. So.
If
But I
had
remember those
growing up.
coming out. I still have them. Yeah, that's a great film. It's Frank Darabont. I think Darabont said it's his, or King, I think Darabont said it was the most fulfilling movie he's made. And King, I think, said it was the best adaptation and the most faithful adaptation
Wow.
of his work.
It's such
That's
a
cool.
damn good movie.
It's another one I'd like to revisit. Really good cast. Really good cast.
Sam Rockwell's a fucking monster.
Sam Rockwell is one of the best and most underrated actors ever. I'm just telling you right now.
He's a good actor.
He could do just about anything.
There were a lot of casting. John Travolta was offered the role that Tom Hanks took and turned it down.
That would have been weird.
Good.
Yeah, good. Actually, Tom Hanks did the movie as a favor because he was supposed to play Andy in Shawshank.
Tom Hanks.
Really?
Tom Hanks
Really?
was cast as Andy in
Over
Shawshank.
Tim Robbins?
He couldn't do it because he had to do Forrest Gump. So he had
thank
he
God.
wasn't allowed
Jeez.
to do it. Yeah, and unfortunately, I mean Tim Robbins.
Thank
is
God.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
seriously. I love Forrest Gump and I love Shawshank the way it is.
They're both amazing
Tim Robbins
movies.
well, Tim Robbins is
Would you
good. We'll get to that, but he's amazing.
Do you imagine the roles flip flopped? Like if Tim,
If Tim
Robbins
Robbins
was
was
Forrest
Forrest
Gump? Yeah.
I don't want to.
I don't either.
A 6'6" Forrest Gump, or however tall he is.
Oh man, yeah, Green Mile was good stuff.
Yeah. All right, what's number 12?
Number 12, Carrie should be higher.
Was that not on the top
oh,
100?
yeah.
I don't remember.
It was. I think we talked about it. It was like
Yeah.
one of my
Yeah.
votes.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh yeah, we did talk about it.
Yeah, I remember
It's
Ray
in my
talking
top
about not showing it
15
to
or
his
so.
kids.
Well, every time I hear the title Carrie, I black out and think about Dirty Pillows. So
It was number 4 on my top 20 of Stephen King.
I don't know where I placed it. I like that movie quite a bit. And
in my
Sissy
top.
Spacek is amazing.
5, I think.
Yeah, I don't think I ranked it too high because there are a lot of these other ones coming up that I really, really love. But
My lists are always backwards from you guys.
Carrie,
so.
it's an iconic classic horror movie, and it's a good movie. We did talk about it. I remember talking about it in the top 100.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll go to 10. Number 10
Did we miss
is
11?
Stand By Me.
Or was that 11?
Carrie was 11.
Oh. number 10,
Stand By Me is number 10. Yep.
Imagine finding out after loving that movie for like 20 years that it was an actual Stephen King adaptation and not having any clue. I had no clue for the longest time, and there's subtle hints throughout, like Castle Rock and like stuff like that. It's like
Yeah.
Or in the opening credits where it says "By the Body" by Stephen King.
I didn't pay attention to that stuff when I was a kid. Did not pay attention to that stuff when I was a kid. But when I got the DVD, when I was like 24, I saw that. I'm like, holy shit! I had no idea. Never paid attention. And I got to be honest, that was another one of those ones that I'd see on TV, and I'd come to it, stop wherever it was, and watch it. I never ever got to see
That's one of those movies you could literally stop and watch wherever it's at.
I never paid attention to credits until I got older. So
Yeah, phenomenal movie. I mean,
now I'm not going to pay attention to them ever. Sorry, Nate. Go ahead.
Introduction of River Phoenix. I mean, this kid was a star right there, right then and there.
Yeah.
He just owns that film. It's definitely one of the best things.
Richard Dreyfuss' narration too.
Yeah, great casting. And Rob Reiner, again, we talked about him last week. Doesn't get the appreciation for how good he is with adapting Stephen King. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of movies have copied Stand By Me too. A lot of coming of age movies. I remember being one of those movies where we saw kids talking like kids talk, like no filter. It was kind of shocking to see at the time. And it's just a great story, a great road movie. Yeah, and just and the funness of it too. You know, the whole chopper like stick balls and the lard ass story, and I mean, it's just so. I don't know how anyone could not love Stand By Me. How you could watch that and not be entertained.
I don't know how anybody could not relate to some of that. I mean, when I was a kid, we used to go out hiking, not for days to find a dead body or anything, but we used to go out in the woods, local woods, and hike around and do the same kind of stuff. And
just do it in the afternoon.
Like yeah, it was awesome, and that's one of the things I loved about it. It was like just kind of like the Goonies in a way, but a little bit different, obviously. Where it's these kids, these good friends going on an adventure together, and and we all had friends that were like Vern or maybe not like Teddy. Father's a loony.
My dad stormed the beach at Normandy.
That's such a good movie, man. I haven't seen
Man without armor and a savage land.
Great soundtrack.
Yep.
And then Kiefer Sutherland.
Yep.
Was a great villain.
He was big in that. That was a good time for him because the Lost Boys were shortly after that too.
I remember Bradley Gregg, who played Spider, wasn't it? Like Burns' brother. Mm-hmm. He became really close. Of course, he played Philip in Nightmare Dream Warriors. He became really good friends with River Phoenix and him were best friends. And when I talked to Bradley, he said that he quit acting after River died because he just couldn't deal with it anymore. But they met on that film, and then they were in Last Crusade together in the beginning.
Oh yeah! Wow, yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's such a. Stand By Me is such a wonderful. How could it not be in a top 10? If it's not, we failed.
I think it should be higher. I don't know where I placed it, but it's such a good movie. I think that's one I definitely need to show my son. I haven't introduced him to that one yet.
I had it at number 2, guys. So
I probably had it at number 20. No, my dumbass. Chris Hall says he's never watched Stand By Me. What are you doing with your life?
How have you never seen a movie that I've seen?
Get on that, Chris. You will not be disappointed,
Chris.
Man.
I showed that movie to my daughter, my youngest daughter. She was interested in watching it, and she loved it.
Yeah,
it's an engaging movie. Like it just the characters. I mean, it's just in Vern. We didn't talk about how great Vern, it's Fat Jerry O'Connell. I ran all the way.
You don't have any hair.
Oh, it's a Gucci.
Damn it, I want to watch that.
So great. I want to watch that.
That's a Gucci.
Oh, it's such a good movie.
Okay, let's move on to number 9. It's Dr. Sleep.
Number 9. Yes. Ooh.
Dr. Sleep.
When I made my list, I forgot to add that. And I'm like, holy shit, I need to go back and add Dr. Sleep. So, good movie, man. That's a great follow-up to the film adaptation of The Shining and, the book. I'll be right back. Go ahead.
I would say it's probably the best modern Stephen King movie, like since they've started revamping Stephen King stuff.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's my favorite.
I think Mike Flanagan's like the new Frank Darabont.
Yeah.
I mean,
he does a lot more.
There are a couple newer ones I still haven't seen, like the Netflix ones. There's like Tall Grass or something, and
that was pretty good.
19 something.
Within the Tall Grass he did with his brother or his son. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Joe Hill.
Yeah, Dr. Sleep's probably the best out of the newer ones.
And the only reason this movie is probably as low as it is on the list is because I haven't seen it, so I didn't rate it.
Jared!
Gotta check it out, man.
I need to watch the 3-hour-long director's cut.
It's number 6 on my list.
Worth it.
It's the only version
I haven't seen it at all.
Number 8 is the new It, Chapter 1.
So does that compose both of them, or just the?
Nope, just the one.
Just the first one.
Yeah, because Nate's right. I think if you add them together, it takes down. It would drop 2017 down because the second one was not as good as the first one.
I agree.
And I don't know. I like it quite a bit. It's great. I think I like these movies with the kids as the main characters and everything. They're just I don't know what it is about them. I just
He's
like
good.
Stand By Me and Dreamcatcher.
He's really good at writing that time of life, that adolescent time of
His pre-coke
coming
time.
of age stuff. And I just think that's a really good film all around. I know it gets shit because of the Tim Curry movie, but get past Tim Curry, guys. Okay, I mean,
It did.
it's a fantastic, well-made film. And one thing I didn't know about it because I always try to look at the cast and crew now when we do these things just to point out like who's done what. The cinematographer on that movie is Park Chan-wook's cinematographer who did Old Boy and Lady Vengeance and Stoker and Handmaiden. So it's a fantastic cinematographer. Yeah. He's a South Korean cinematographer.
I was gonna say that's like 2 out of 3 of the Takashi Miike's like trilogy.
Yeah, he didn't do the first Vengeance movie, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, but he did the second two, and he's done I think all of Park's movies since then, since Old Boy. And if y'all haven't watched his movies, you need to watch it. He's one of the best filmmakers of the last 20 years, easy.
Yes.
Number 7 is Silver Bullet.
Mm-hmm.
It's my favorite werewolf movie. And I noticed it was ranked a lot lower on a lot of people's list versus mine. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I like that they took the short story or novella and made it into a feature-length movie, and I love it. I think it's great. I don't care what the werewolf looks like. I do care what the werewolf looks like, but I mean, I don't care that it looks like, what'd you call it, a puppy or whatever?
Looks like a teddy bear.
Teddy bear.
Yeah.
It
just looks so bad.
I first watched this movie last year, so I've found a new love with it. I really liked it. It's fun as shit. Gary Busey's amazing as always because he's.
Well, Gary Busey makes it, man.
It's Gary Busey.
he always calls me that.
Yeah.
Everybody wants that.
I like the song "Pissing on the Yankees, Pissing on the Indian."
No,
I like that too.
It's such a fun
I
movie.
still seen a werewolf use a ball bat.
And I want
the guy. Is that the one with the guy, the drunk guy, was like, "Oh, it hurts my parts." Or he's watching the wrestler.
Yeah. It's a really good movie. When I was putting together my list, I was doing it quickly on lunch break from work, and so I don't think that I put them in proper order. This Silver Bullet may be a little bit higher up on my list than some of the other stuff I put down, but
it's definitely my 3rd favorite Corey Haim film.
What's number 1 and 2?
Number 1 and 2. Number 1 is Lost Boys. Number 2 is Prayer of the Roller Boys.
No License to Drive in there. Come on.
It's
what are you thinking
4.
here?
It's
what are we thinking? License to Drive is iconic.
Lucas is 5.
Actually, I think that might be a lost movie for people. Or, sorry.
Okay,
Heather Graham.
Yeah, she was hot.
Hey,
number 6 is Christine.
Yes.
Yes.
God, I can look at that movie as it being underappreciated by Stephen King fans for some reason. It may not be, but I stepped away from seeing it for a good 20 years, and then they finally released it on Blu-ray at some point in the last 5-6 years, and I watched it and I was like, holy fuck, this is such a good movie. And here we go again. I had no clue that Carpenter had directed it until I watched it a couple years ago. So I love it, man. It's so good. Oh, and the changes Carpenter made it even better.
this is another one.
The car was, I don't.
Well,
Red.
So this is another one I watched the crap
Go
out
ahead.
of growing up. I don't know why I was obsessed with Christine, but I always watched it, and I loved the whole opening sequence of the car in the
Yeah.
factory and the radio kicking on.
George Thorogood.
The unveiling of the character, yes.
Yeah,
That's
the
great.
that also the recreation after Christine gets the shit kicked out of her, and the scenes where she's on fire driving down the road. I'm talking about her like she's a person again here. She, but like one of my favorite
She is
things
a she.
is the main character, his like his he just falls apart mentally. He falls in love with a car and becomes a fucking psycho. You know, you get to watch the deterioration of his mental state throughout the whole movie, and I love that. I love his character arc. Arnie, and he's got a wonderful name. And he's a fucking he's a big time college diving star in Back to School.
He's a big
with William Zabka.
He became a director as well.
Yeah, because he disappeared from filmmaking or from acting for a long time, and then I found that out. I'm like, oh, that's.
He was in Jaws 2. It's okay.
He was in Jaws 2.
Oh yeah, Jaws 2.
Not 3. I liked him as an actor. I mean, there's a lot of the 80s movies that he pops up in.
The Stockwell guy. I'm a big My Science Project fan, and he was a star of that one.
I haven't seen that in a long time either. Who directed that? So I know before I watch it again, because I haven't seen it in 30 years. Was it somebody important? Yeah, it wasn't like so. Stephen King or something like that, was it? Because
no, it
was I didn't know that was a Stephen King book.
No, it's a forgotten movie, really. It's
what movie?
My Science Project.
My Science Project. I'd
like
to get that one.
Fun 80s. If you like to me, the closest thing would be like House 2. It had that kind of quirky other world, other dimension. Because the guy he's like a car gearhead in that one too, isn't he? I think. And he finds this thing in a warehouse, like the Air Force base, and it opens dimensions. I think Dennis Hopper's in it as well. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah, Dennis Hopper's in it.
I used to watch the shit out of that.
Dude, I just looked it up on Amazon, and they've got one copy left on Blu-ray for $119.89. Holy shit!
Wow, I have it somewhere downstairs.
How good is it?
How
good is it?
Yeah, is it $100?
It's awesome.
Good.
It's fun. It's a great.
No, it's no
great 80s
Blu-ray
movie. I
is
wouldn't pay that for it. No, it's probably on YouTube to watch. Yeah. Okay, let's go to number 5.
$10.
The Mist, number 5.
I need to rewatch.
I think all of these, all but one have been on my top 100.
Yeah, I love that movie. I talked about that kind of in depth in the top 100. I love it. It's a great movie, great ending, good cast. Thomas Jane again in another Stephen King adaptation. I love Thomas Jane. So I'm looking up where to find My Science Project.
It's like
I want to watch it now.
Show. I'm gonna go shop.
Yeah, I'm done with it. I'm ready to watch My Science Project.
Any movie that homages Drew Struzan is okay in my book. And I don't know about you guys, but I can't watch it not in black and white.
Ooh, I've never seen it.
Darabont wanted it to be in black and white. Oh God!
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Darabont wanted it to be in black and white, and he would Darabont wanted it in black and white. The studio wouldn't do it, and they put it out on Blu-ray DVD in black and white. And after I saw the black and white version, I was like, I will not watch this any other way. It's beautiful.
I'll have to see if my DVD has that. Is it on the DVD?
Same here.
It's on the. I think it was only. I don't know. I have it.
It's
I don't know.
The Blu-ray copy. I just they have a 2-disc collector's edition or something like that Blu-ray, and it has the option with the black and white. That's the one I just got in the other day. I haven't checked it out in black and white yet though.
I want to see what you guys think of it because it's just better in my opinion. It's just gorgeous.
Making me add
Just
more
the
shit.
tension and
Yeah, I'm
anxiety of that movie alone, with all
definitely
the different
interested.
characters.
Yeah, Marcia Gay Harden is terrifying in that movie.
I cheered when she got shot.
Yeah.
I think I said it's about time, something like that.
Finally.
Okay, number 4, we just did a whole episode on Pet Cemetery.
Really? Number 4, huh?
Number 4 should have been higher, but then again, you look at the top 3 and you can't argue.
Not at all.
Pet Cemetery. I mean, we said I think everything we need to say about it on Tuesday.
No fucking way.
Oh yeah. If you guys
Son of
want to
a
hear our
bitch.
thoughts on Pet Cemetery, just check out our episode.
Now Ray's got to buy the Mist with the black and white version.
No, I it's not that. No, I remember I just got Wolf Creek in the mail. Well, I found my copy.
Oh, you already had it?
Oh, I hate that. I hate
Yeah.
that.
I'm not
sucks.
happy about that.
Hey, giveaway.
It's the same exact fucking.
It's the same one, too.
Hey, folks, we might have a giveaway coming up soon.
Yeah. It'll be sealed and unused.
I shouldn't have opened this one. All right, so what are we doing now?
Number 3 is Misery.
Yes.
Misery. Oh man. Oh, that's such a good movie. Kathy Bates. I mean, I love almost everything I've ever seen her in, but that's gotta be one of her roles of a lifetime. I mean, she is so goddamn good in that movie, and so is James Caan for that matter. But we talked about it a lot. The entire cast, the sheriff and his wife, and all that banter and
Farnsworth,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, good ass movie.
Yeah.
Seems like
Yeah.
things have gotten better here on Zoom since the little
Yeah.
glitchiness, right? Am I
Yeah.
wrong?
They were a
Okay,
little
good.
roller coaster.
Yeah, that sucked. Took me out of the episode a little bit.
Yeah.
But Misery is great. I just watched that over the weekend, and my kids weren't interested at first. They were reading my comic books, and then they just started putting the books down slowly and started paying attention. And my youngest looks at me. She goes, "Oh, that lady looks so nice." And she's like, "Why are you smiling, Dad?" I'm like, "Oh, just keep watching."
Just keep watching.
Just,
Just keep watching. Yeah, I remember renting that because in the early 90s, it came out, what, 90, I think? 90? 91. It was 90.
90.
Yeah, I remember renting it because it was a Stephen King adaptation and was known to be scary. And I'm sitting there watching it. I'm like, this is not even scary at all. And then she breaks out the wood and the hammer. I'm like, oh my God. Well, shit.
I think that was the first Stephen King movie where I had read the book before I saw the film. Like I'd read it 89 or so. So I was really excited about it. 'Cause it's one of those first experiences of like, okay, I know this, and then you go in there and it's just so fantastic. It's so well done. And maybe even better than the book. It's just a
that's
really
a book I should
classy,
read.
good film. Everything about it's perfect. I can't even think of any problems with it.
Yeah. And who directed it?
Rob Reiner.
Yeah.
It's a
Again.
comedy. Meathead.
To the
Yeah.
part where she
He's actually
forces
pretty
him
good
to
director.
burn his own manuscript, that's painful.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Burn it.
Especially
Yeah.
since it's not backed up, on a hard drive or
Yeah,
something like that.
I like where he tries to
It's like
pull
only
that.
fucking copy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
he-
finally
he
done
tries to
with
bluff it.
Misery, and he wanted to move on. It was like his shot of being taken seriously, and only copy he had, and he's just like trying to call her bluff on it. Like, oh, there's more copies elsewhere. And she's like, I know you're lying, and then he has to burn it, and just the look on his face, it's painful, man.
Good stuff. All right, number 2 is one we haven't talked about. Is Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
That was my number 1.
Probably
That
the
was
most.
my number 3.
That's one that
My number
I've got
3.
a lot of memories attached to that one. I saw it in the theater. I was interested in seeing from the trailers or commercials on TV for some reason. I don't know what drew me to it, but we had a dollar theater like 4 or 5 blocks away from my house when I was 15. Because the summer of '95, I saw Batman Forever like 30 times, no joke. But I went with a girlfriend to go see Shawshank Redemption, and it was a date movie, and I had to go see it twice because we fooled around the first time. But I really enjoyed it, and that's as soon as it came out on VHS, I bought it. As soon as it came out on DVD, Blu-ray, I buy. I've got so many copies of it. I love it. It's probably one of my favorite movies of all time. Period. And again, I don't. I love Tom Hanks, but I don't see him as Andy Dufresne at all. I never even heard of that, and I could never see him. It's like next you're going to tell me, DMX is going to play Red.
Good God. No. I think Shawshank's the one Stephen King movie I've seen more than any of his other movies. One, just because it was literally always playing on TV growing up.
Yeah.
We had it. I still think it's funny though. Like, I could be wrong, but wasn't Shawshank not a success because of the title? Like, people just didn't understand what the movie was about because it was called Shawshank. But now it's like one of the, most well-known, biggest movies like ever.
I mean, if they would have called it Prison Breakout, it probably would have made a lot of money.
I don't know. I got this weird thing with that movie in that I saw it when it came out on VHS. I watched it at my uncle's house. It's in '94, right? So I was a freshman in college, I think. And I remember loving it. I remember it being an amazing film, but I remember also I didn't watch it again for like another 20 years. I don't know why. It's one of those movies I just never watched again, even though I thought it was amazing. So when I watch it again, of course, yeah, it's still amazing. But it's one of those movies I have not watched a lot. But when I watch it, again, another flawless movie, flawless cast, flawless, great director. Again, the movie that probably, I don't know if it did fail or not, Oscar-worthy Stephen King movie. I think it probably was nominated for something.
Let's look.
I love that in the show Castle Rock. There's a scene in Shawshank, and you see the warden from the movie. His pictures on the wall.
Yeah,
it's a pretty cool connection there.
Your volume just went up
from the season 1.
Yeah, that. In season 1. I'm looking right now to see awards and how much money it made and all that good stuff. It doubled its budget, so it didn't do very well in the theater. I don't know. It's got a 9.3 rating on IMDb, and I got to tell you, that's damn near impossible to do. That please that many people. A 9.3 on 9, because that's just people voting on that website. It's just one of those movies, and the one thing that I like is how easy they are. How not easy. I don't know how to explain it, but the passage of time is done so well because so many years pass while they're in that prison, and they do such a good job with it. And it's not that long of a movie. It's only like maybe 2.5 hours, I think. Yeah, about 2 hours and 20 minutes, which, it's kind of long, but it's not. It's so good. And again, I think it's probably his best movie ever. That's my opinion. I do love The Shining. I do love Pet Sematary. It was nominated for 7 Academy Awards in 1995, the most for a Stephen King adaptation. Best Picture, Best Actor, Morgan Freeman. Marvin Freeman, what the hell's wrong with me?
That's his brother, Marvin.
Best Adapted Screenplay. He was going to be in it as Red at first. Best Cinematography, Best Editing, Best Sound Mixing. Yeah, best original score. Yeah, absolutely. Now I have to watch.
I could be wrong on this. But it seems like I heard a story where Steve and they were talking about Shawshank Redemption and how amazing it was. And I think Steven mentioned that him being the writer, and they said, "You didn't write that." Like they didn't know that Steven had written it and didn't think that he was possible to read it. I remember being really excited about it because. Go ahead.
I'll say there's been a lot of that stuff popping up on Twitter lately with Stephen King because somebody was like, comparing COVID-19 to The Stand, and Stephen King like replied back to him. He was like, "This is nowhere near The Stand. This is nothing like that." And the person somebody on Twitter responded and said, "How would you know? Did you even read the book?" Like being completely serious, and the internet like blew up. Like, what?
That's pretty funny.
Okay, number 1.
Take a guess. Anybody got a guess?
The Shining, and The Shining won by a pretty huge margin, actually. It's definitely my favorite Stephen King movie.
It was my number 1.
It was my number one. Yes.
I think it was my number 3. That sounds about right? Because I think Pet Sematary was my number 2, and I know Shawshank was my number 1.
Mine was.
Which honestly, those top 3 are interchangeable for sure.
Yeah,
I think it was like 3 or 4 for mine.
Yeah, mine was Shining, Misery, and then Shawshank.
What's there to say about The Shining that we haven't already said? I mean,
you got a new 4K TV. Watch it on 4K because it's beautiful.
What?
I like those new Mountain Dew Zero Sugar commercials, though.
I haven't seen any of that. I don't have a 4K TV.
I thought you were getting.
I'm not. I will eventually,
No, they're
but
just regular
I'll tell
Mountain
you
Dew
what.
commercials.
I am not rebuying The Shining again. Okay,
No,
Blu-ray
they're
is
just
fine.
regular Mountain Dew commercials,
And
and it has the lady from Blackish and Mike McCrane.
Bryan Cranston playing
Bryan
Jack
Cranston.
Torrance.
Oh yeah, okay. I think I did see that. Okay, I don't see too many commercials out here in the sticks. Oh wait, I live like right outside of St. Louis.
I think it was played on during the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
That
that's what I was
says
gonna
Michael
say.
McCrane. His name is Bryan Cranston.
Where did you get that name from?
I have no idea.
So I found my copy of The Mist, and I do not have the black and white version.
I'm sorry you had to buy that now.
Well, I bought this. I'm sorry to buy fucking Wolf Creek again. I better like it this time. But I bought this when it came out. Like after I saw it, I bought it immediately. So
You're gonna be like Steve Martin in My Blue Heaven. Like, why did you stole all these books? No, I bought them. Like, why do you need 37 copies of the same book? In case I want to read it more than twice, or more than once, or whatever.
That's an awesome movie too. I love that movie.
Or what's more than once? Yeah, what can we say? I think we've covered Shining. Maybe this was a bad subject because we've covered all these movies so much.
Well, I think it's because we just did our top 100. So I mean,
yeah, The Shining.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's so funny that The Shining is the movie that he doesn't like, and a lot of fans think sucks because it's not like the book. And again, like I said last time, like it's fucking Stanley Kubrick. I don't care.
Yeah, it just kind of stems from the interactions King and Stanley had throughout. Once you actually like read some of the or seen some of the documentaries about that filming process, like
yeah, I've got this.
Is that the one?
I got this really great book, Stanley Kubrick Archives.
It's like $20.
And this is a really awesome book, and in it it has interviews with Kubrick, and Kubrick was not. I mean, I don't think he respected Steven as a writer, and I think he was very verbal about it. I think that also rubbed Steven probably wrong.
I would definitely be rubbed wrong.
Yeah. I think that I don't know how I would feel. I think I'd be in the same boat as Stephen King, honestly, because again, there are a lot of things that can be perceived as fuck yous to Stephen King from Stanley Kubrick in the movie itself too. I don't know.
I don't think it was a personal thing. I think it was.
Well, maybe.
I don't think it was a personal fuck you thing. Now, I think it was more like Stanley was looking for the right material and he saw it there.
Yeah.
But he made it his, and I don't think he really gave a shit about what the writer was going to think or say. I think he just looked at, this is my piece of marble, and I'm going to chisel it a little more of what I want it to be and what I need to do for it. And again, it's like, well, okay, it's not the book, but it's something else. I mean, this book's still there. It's still great.
Yeah.
I kind of look at things like Alan Moore said when people say, what do you think what Hollywood's done to your comics? He goes, they haven't done anything to my comics. They're still sitting on the shelf the way I left them.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that's how you look at it.
Yeah, it's like people.
A remake doesn't change a movie.
Exactly. I was about to say that's like people remakes. You can still watch the originals.
I'm curious if he's let that go, like Stephen King. I know he wasn't happy about it. It's been publicized, right? I wonder if he's changed.
He said when he saw Doctor Sleep that Mike has kind of vilified Stan Lee's movie, like the marriage of the two in Mike's movie, kind of I think healed a wound in some ways for Steven.
Right? Was that was on the special features too, wasn't it? Because there was a little feature with him and Flanagan talking about the movie, which when I watched it, I was surprised at him not, the way he talked about the Shining film. And I do think Doctor Sleep probably could help that because it, like I said, it's a great sequel to the movie and a decent. That was the last book I read of Stephen King's, I think. Whenever
gave him the ending he wanted to have in Doctor Sleep from the novel with the overlook burning down.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. Sure. I don't like the series, by the way. Just gonna say.
I get it that Steven was bummed because, of course, that's your baby and it's such a personal story. And Stanley just said, fuck that, I don't care. I'm going to tell my story. So he took out the whole point and the heart of it. But again, if like Bob Dylan when Jimi Hendrix covered Hall on the Watchtower, Bob Dylan well, fuck, I can't be mad. That's fucking amazing. That's how the song should sound.
Right.
So it's like
it'd be my go-to version of that song too. If I was going to listen to it, that's the one I'd rather listen to.
So when a genius takes over your art, you let the genius do it. You don't I mean, some people don't like Stanley, but
from what I understand, not too long, maybe a couple years ago, I was reading I think it was an interview with Stephen King, or maybe it was just something he wrote back when he had Facebook. But he mentions that he thinks the movie is beautifully shot. He just didn't like some of the changes, and he didn't like Jack Nicholson as Jack Torrance.
Who would he have casted as Jack Torrance? Do we know that? Did Stephen King ever say who he would have? Elliot from E.T.
I don't recall. But I mean, I understand his point to a certain extent because it is Jack Nicholson being Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Kind of being the character. And I say
felt that way
as
about the Joker.
Well, he's very good at being Jack Nicholson. So.
He is.
Do we know what Stephen King's favorite adaptation is of any of his works? Do we have any clue?
I think he likes, he said that Green Mile was like the most faithful. I think he's a big fan of Dee Wallace and Cujo as well.
How could you not? She was amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe her best to second best role, I think, of all time. Her best being in Halloween 2007, of course. I mean, let's not argue.
Okay, so now that we've gone through a list of all of ours, combined average 20 list, are there any honorable mentions on our lists that didn't get mentioned?
Do you just want to mention that one movie that didn't get on the list?
I
got a couple.
Yeah, everybody pick one that they wished was on the list that didn't make it.
I want to know your guys' thoughts on 1408. That's one I love. 1408. It's one of my
1408 is one that I don't remember.
Yeah, I need to rewatch it.
Yeah.
So I love it.
It's really good. I like that one too, Keith.
John Cusack's amazing.
Is he a writer going nuts in a hotel room?
Yeah. Well,
I will watch it again at some point because I do remember liking it.
But I mean, it's great.
Okay, Jared, go ahead. Put the one
and the funny thing is, it's got Samuel Jackson in that, both of those, with John Cusack.
Yep.
Go
I'm
ahead.
actually gonna go against the grain, and I'm gonna say 3 of them. So, yeah.
Okay.
So sometimes they come back was one of them that came up for me. That was a really big that could have cracked the top 20.
Yeah.
11/22/63 was another one.
I had a hard time. I would have put that on my list, but it's like, it's what is it, 5 or 6 episodes long?
Yeah,
I
it's
was
like
thinking of
it's
more.
like a television show,
Yeah,
and I'm watching it now, and I'm fucking loving it. But
it's
I'd
wonderful.
also,
Yeah.
if we did that, I'd also have to have The Outsider on there because The Outsider is fantastic.
That's
Yeah,
great.
seen that one
Yes.
yet.
And the other one that I have is The Running Man, but Stephen
Yeah.
King wrote it under Richard Bachman.
Yeah,
Running Man is
I like The Running Man.
fantastic. Yeah. It's a good one.
And
I'm trying
Seth
to find
told
my
me
list.
that the book is way different, so I need to read the book.
I bet.
It
Probably
is.
just turned into a Schwarzenegger vehicle.
It's I'm telling you, man. Read the book. It's awesome.
I wish The Mist was higher on the list, but I can see why it's not. It's a hard. Okay, here's mine list. Let me see. Graveyard Shift didn't make it. Thinner. I love Thinner. It's not a good movie,
Thinner
but I
is
absolutely
great.
love that movie. Yeah,
Thinner
that's
is great.
probably
It's
my
not a good movie, but it's great. Is that what
Yeah,
you said?
I like it. It had so much potential. I saw it in the theater when it came out. And I really like it. I think it could have been better. I like the lead, which I don't remember his name. Joe Mantegna's in it, and he's great. It's not a bad movie.
Made me think of
another one that could be remade.
as a Seinfeld's got a new special on there, and it just made me think what you always say about great. he said there's not a long line between great and sucks. I just went, hey, you want to go see that new movie? I hear it's great. Oh yeah, I heard it sucks. How can it suck? It's supposed to be great. I heard the beginning of it's great. Then it sucks at the end.
It's true. Jerry speaks the truth.
The two I wanted, I think that I didn't make the list was The Night Flyer.
Mm-hmm. That's because I haven't seen it. Who else hasn't seen it?
I have never.
Am I the only one?
Anybody seen Night
I've
Flyer?
never seen Night Flyer.
Huh?
I've seen
No
it.
one?
The guy that's in that I love him as an actor.
And Miguel Ferrer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's good.
From RoboCop and all that. Yeah, he's really good at it. He's a real kind of sleazy reporter guy, and it's a great vampire story.
I want to see.
And then
that
the other one
very
I
badly.
wanted. The other one was Cat's Eye. I think.
Cat's Eye is good.
Okay.
I have a problem with Cat's Eye because it's a not that I don't have a problem with the movie in general, but putting it on the list because it's an anthology essentially. I mean, it is one movie, but they're all different stories told at different.
I am really stunned, and I'm not a fan, but I'm stunned that nobody had Creepshow.
That's another one that I had a problem putting on the list because
I didn't put it on mine because I wasn't sure if it would actually be. I mean, it's not really an adaptation. I mean,
yeah.
I definitely escaped my mind.
It didn't escape me. I thought about it, but I was like, I don't know if this belongs on a Stephen King list. I don't know. Creepshow is good. Did you put it on your list, Nate?
No, I'm not a fan.
I don't think it was on anybody's list.
I like Creepshow. I don't like all the segments. I'll be honest. I like a couple of them. But...
So another one that's on my list that didn't make it's Firestarter.
Hmm.
For me, that one for me is like nostalgia. That one also I used to watch a lot, and I love freaking Drew Barrymore and the dad in that movie. I don't know. I want to revisit that movie. I need to see if it's on Blu-ray or something.
George C. Scott is an Indian. I rewatched it like a while back. It wasn't bad.
I think Firestarter was good when I was younger. I haven't seen. That was one of the. They released a bunch of them on Blu-ray a few years ago with like It, Christine, and Firestarter and Cat's Eye all came out around the same time, and that's the only one I didn't get was Firestarter. I like Drew Barrymore when she was a kid though. She's good.
Yeah,
that's her, right?
Like,
she's in there, right?
Yeah.
In Cat's Eye, she's a main girl that's just kind of all revolving around with her cat, and then the troll tries to take her breath, which they kind of homage in the Pet Sematary remake when the cat's sitting on the Gage's chest or Ellie's chest. But yeah, I love like Quitters Inc. with James Woods, her trying to quit smoking, and I think it's kind of overlooked. And the same guy that made Cujo made that one, Louis T. Or not? Is Louis T? Yeah, it's Louis T.
Well, and that's why I didn't add it, because it is essentially an anthology movie in my mind. I mean, you pick a segment. You're like, my segment is the James Woods segment. That's my favorite of the bunch. How could it not be?
All right,
anyway.
Let's cut it and let's do. I thought it would be fun last night. Everybody do their Fred Gwynn impersonation as an outro about the road.
And you do your final thoughts as Fred Gwynn.
Just want to throw out my honorable mentions. Sometimes they come back, like Jared said, Needful Things and The Dark Half.
Yeah, I want to see Needful Things. There's a Blu-ray of it, and I can't find it.
I need to revisit.
I don't think any of us mentioned The Stand either.
Yep.
I have never seen The Stand. I've never seen it.
It's good.
Should I watch it? It's like 5 hours long, guys.
Stand is
it's a tamer
got
version.
Enough. It's got enough to go for it. Like a great cast. I really love Rob Lowe and Gary Sinise. And
Rob Lowe's in that one too.
Yeah. He's the deaf and mute guy.
If I'm not mistaken, Joe Bob is also in The Stand as well.
M-O-O-N.
And The Stand is also being remade.
Patrick from SpongeBob is in
it. I definitely recommend if you guys haven't picked up The Dark Half.
Molly Ringwald's in it. I'm in.
I didn't know.
All right. So sorry about any issues we had throughout the show. If you had issues on your end, we tried. I think we will come back on Tuesday. I'm calling it now. We're going to do the Scream series. Gives you guys the weekend to watch all 4 Scream movies.
I'm down with that. I literally just got all of them in.
All right. Who does not have the Scream movies? I'm looking at Jared just in case.
I have them.
Okay. Let's talk about Scream on Tuesday. I hope you guys enjoy Scream. It's a bigger name movie. Let us know if you'd like to hear about or have us talk about our independent horror favorites, because there are a lot of independent, and I don't mean independent like Halloween or whatever. I'm talking about these deep indies, like movies like Nathan makes.
Yeah. I love when we talk indie films and somebody's like, "Oh, what about this $2 million movie?"
Yeah. No, I'm talking about movies that cost like $10,000 to like $70,000, like The Barn, like our friend Mike Lombardo's "I'm Dreaming of a White Doomsday," "Bong of the Living Dead." I mean, there's a bunch of them that we could name off.
Dude, Bro Party Massacre.
Not that one.
Hey, now I love that movie.
No, I mean, it's your choice. But stuff like that. If you want us to talk about that, we might do an episode on that, because honestly, there are a lot of decent. They're not great movies. Let's be honest here, and some of them are not well done, but they're fun to watch for the most part. So maybe we'll do an episode on those. But next Tuesday we'll be talking about Scream 1 through 4, and maybe we'll talk about a little more of what we'd like to see in a Scream 5. If that is coming to fruition, which it sounds like it will. I'm on board, honestly. But thanks for joining us. Anybody have anything else before we go?
I'll go on that road.
No, go down that road. Some damn road. I think I got a mix between Christopher Walken and anyway.
Don't go down that road.
Seth, Judd, Nate, and Jared, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on Tuesday with Scream. Cut the feed.